You've prepared, you've studied, you've done everything right. But there's this voice that says, not yet. You're not quite ready. So you prepare more, you study harder, and somehow you still don't feel ready. And weeks go by, months sometimes, while everyone else moves forward. But here's the thing. This has nothing to do with how prepared you actually are. It has everything to do with how your brain is wired. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this happens, and more importantly, how to stop it. Let's start with something counterintuitive. The more you learn, the further behind you feel. A neuroscientist would tell you this is called the Dunning-Kruger effect's evil twin. Your brain doesn't celebrate what you've mastered. It obsesses over what you don't know yet. Think about when you first learned your job. You didn't know anything, right? So you weren't worried. But as you got better, something shifted. Suddenly, you became aware of all the nuances, all the edge cases, all the things that could go wrong. Your competence went up, but your confidence went down. That's not you being weak, that's you being aware. That's why high achievers are often their own worst critics. Because the people who are actually making progress are the ones who see how much more there is to learn. Everyone else is too ignorant to worry. But it gets darker. Because most people who never feel ready aren't just battling awareness of complexity. They're battling a standard that literally cannot be met. Ask yourself, who set the bar for what ready means? Probably not you. Probably someone from your past. A parent who said approval had to be earned. A teacher who made you feel like good wasn't good enough. An environment where you learned that mistakes meant failure. And here's the trap. That standard is now automatic. It runs in the background like malware on your brain. So even when you hit the actual mark, the one that would satisfy anyone reasonable, your inner voice says, yeah, but the ideal would be. And the ideal, it moves every single time you get close. It's like trying to hit a bullseye on a target that shifts the moment you're about to hit it. You can never win. Which is exactly the point, because that standard was never about achievement. It was about protection. Here's something nobody talks about. Not feeling ready might actually be serving you. Not consciously, but somewhere deep, your brain is getting a benefit from staying stuck. The second you declare yourself ready, you step into danger. You could fail publicly. You could be judged, rejected, exposed. Your competence could be questioned. But as long as you're still preparing, you're safe. You're in control. You're still the smart person who's being careful, not the fool who tried and failed. Psychologists call this avoidance motivation. Your brain is protecting you the only way it knows, by keeping you from taking the risk in the first place. And the genius part, the thing that makes this trap so sticky, the longer you stay in preparation mode, the more evidence you collect that you're not ready. You never get proof of success because you never try. So your brain's protection strategy becomes proof that the danger is real. But you're not actually protecting yourself, you're just procrastinating with better branding. A lot of people have this magical idea about what readiness feels like. They think it's confidence, it's calm, it's this settled certainty that everything will go well. So they wait for that feeling to arrive. And they wait, and they wait. Here's the problem. That feeling is not coming. Not because you're not ready, but because your brain doesn't work that way. Anxiety and confidence are not indicators of preparedness. They're independent variables. You can be absolutely ready and feel terrified. You can be completely incompetent and feel cocky. A surgeon feels nervous before surgery. A con artist feels confident while lying. Emotions are not readiness thermometers, they're just noise. But you've been taught that feelings matter, that you'll know when it's time. So you listen to your anxiety like it's giving you information, and it's not. It's just doing its job, which is to keep you worried. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to be ready. And you probably already are. There's one more thing keeping you stuck, and it's so insidious that even extremely competent people fall for this. You've achieved things, real things, measurable things, but in your mind, none of them count. That promotion, internal politics. That success, timing. That praise, they were just being nice. That skill you developed, anyone could do that. This is imposter syndrome, but it's really a pattern of external success mixed with an internal narrative that says, I don't deserve this. I'm not enough. And here's what makes it prison-proof. Every new challenge becomes evidence of your unworthiness, not an opportunity to grow, a test that you're not worthy of passing. So you accumulate wins, but they don't count. You stack experiences, but they don't stick. Because in your head, you're still the fraud who hasn't been caught yet. But you're not a fraud. You're just refusing to believe the evidence. Your brain is incredible at lying to you, and it does it in very specific, repeatable ways. Catastrophizing. One mistake means total collapse. You miss one deadline and suddenly you're unemployed and alone and eating ramen forever. All or nothing thinking. You're either 100% ready or you're not ready at all. There's no such thing as ready enough. It's binary, on or off. Mental filtering. Your brain is incredible at this one. You complete 99 things perfectly, but you mess up one, and that's the only thing you remember. Comparative bias. You don't compare yourself to people like you. You compare yourself to the absolute best person in your field on their best day. Then you wonder why you feel inadequate. These aren't character flaws, they're habits. Your brain is trained in these patterns, and because you keep practicing them, they feel like truth. But truth and feeling true are not the same thing. Here's something that will sound strange, but hear me out. You might not actually want to feel ready, not consciously, but somewhere deep, you've decided who you are. You're the careful one. You're the perfectionist. You're the person who thinks things through. You're cautious. You're thorough. And if you suddenly acted confidently, if you just went for it without exhaustive preparation, that wouldn't be you. It would feel like lying. So your brain sabotages you. It creates this endless sense of unreadiness because unreadiness is consistent with your identity. It makes sense. It fits. Acting ready would be growth. But growth means shedding who you've been. And that's terrifying in a way that has nothing to do with competence. You're not stuck because you're not capable. You're stuck because you're loyal to an identity that doesn't serve you anymore. Most people think the solution to not feeling ready is to prepare more, study harder, rehearse longer, get that one more certification. But there's a darker possibility. What if the preparing has become the problem? When you overtrain preparation, your brain learns something dangerous. Action is dangerous, preparation is safe. You start getting dopamine hits from studying, organizing, rehearsing, but not from actually doing. So your baseline becomes forever preparation. And the worst part, the only time you feel ready enough is after you've exhausted yourself. So you learn that readiness means extreme effort every single time, which means you'll never actually start because who has that energy? You've trained yourself into learned helplessness, disguised as conscientiousness. Social media makes you think you're the only one who feels this way. Everyone else looks so sure, so ready, so confident. But they're not. They're just editing. There's entire cultures built around this. Some societies celebrate caution so much that chronic self-doubt becomes a virtue. Humility, thoroughness, being careful. But it's still holding you back. And here's the validation you need to hear. The fact that you feel this way doesn't make you weak. It makes you aware. Self-aware people tend to overthink. They tend to see complexity. They tend to doubt themselves. So if you're feeling this way, you're probably smarter and more capable than you think. You're just trapped in a pattern that's hard to see from the inside.
The real issue isn't readiness, it's this split. Your objective self, qualified, prepared, competent, with a track record to prove it. Your internal self, insecure, uncertain, convinced that the objective stuff doesn't count because it's all going to be exposed as fraud. These two versions of you are in constant conflict. And as long as they are, readiness will always feel like it's one step away. Because you can't feel ready while part of you is convinced you're not worthy of what you've achieved. So the work isn't getting more skills. The work is reconciliation. It's closing the gap. It's making the internal reality match the external one. Okay, so now you know what's been holding you back, but knowing and changing are different things. So here's what actually works. Step 1, stop waiting for the feeling. Readiness is not an emotion, it's a threshold, and you've probably already crossed it. The feeling might never come. Do it anyway. This feels wrong at first. Your brain will fight you, but wrong doesn't mean bad, it just means different. And different is growth. Step 2, build evidence against your doubts. Every time you do something you thought you weren't ready for and it goes okay, you're collecting data. But you have to pay attention to it. Don't brush it off as luck. Don't shrink it down. Notice it. I was nervous and I did it anyway, and it worked. That's the antidote to imposter syndrome. Step 3, lower the standard, not to mediocrity, to real-world standards, not to perfection, but to good enough. Your internal bar is set by someone from your past who wanted you to be safe through excellence. It's not serving you. Update it. Step 4, separate identity from action. You can be a careful person and still take risks. You can be a perfectionist and still put out imperfect work. The trait doesn't have to drive every decision. Try something. Do one thing this week that violates your self-image slightly. Something small. See what happens. Spoiler, nothing. You're still you. Just a version that takes action. Step 5, reframe preparation as practice. There's a difference. Preparation is, I need to be ready before I start. Practice is, I get ready by starting. The only way you get the evidence that you're ready is by acting. So act. I'm going to say something and I want you to actually hear it. You are ready. Right now. Not eventually, not when you've done one more thing, not when you feel differently. Right now. I don't know what you're waiting to do. A presentation, a creative project, a hard conversation, a career change, a public declaration of something you believe in. But whatever it is, the version of you that exists today is capable of it. Not the version you'll be in a year with more experience. This version. The only thing between you and action is permission. And you don't need it from me or anyone else. You already have it. Stop preparing. Start doing. The readiness is already there. You're just finally going to notice it. If this resonated with you, if you recognized yourself in any of this, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because this trap isn't something you have to be in alone. And if you want more on breaking patterns that are holding you back, I upload every week. Don't miss it. You're ready. Now prove it.